I'm sure all of us have our favorite Marian image. Maybe that little statue, perhaps it's a grotto, maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a memory. There's something about our Blessed Mother that strikes the chord of all of us. And perhaps as we reflect upon the year that we're just concluding and we're about to enter into this new year, it's a good time to whip out that image. My favorite image is the Pietà. I love the Pietà of Michelangelo. I spent 6 years walking into St. Peter's, almost 6 or 7 years. And what struck me about this statue is the way in which Michelangelo shines up our Blessed Mother. If she actually stood up from this image, she would be 16 feet tall. She would hit her head through the roof. But because he was so elegant and could imagine the problem that he had, which was to try to have Jesus look dead in the arms of his mother. And his mother had to look young because tradition has it that despite the fact that she might have been, maybe into her 40s or 50s, at that point, she had to look young, like a teenage girl. And so how do you get rock to look like a young mother but holding a dead son? That image in and of itself is striking. And for anybody who has children, you can imagine the terror that must strike into anybody's thought, to have a mother holding her son who is lifeless. And one of the keys that Michelangelo realized to making this statue what it was is keeping the block intact. In other words, it wasn't let's carve out Jesus and then put him on the arms of Mary, or carve out Mary and then have it sit in a bench and do it in like 3 pieces and pull them together, kind of like a nativity set where you pull all the pieces together and then you do that. Or I just saw a picture of my little brother, my little cousins. They're over in Austria for Christmas. And what they do over there is they have these beautiful snow caves in which they carve out images of the nativity scene in snow. And it's so cold all the time there that they walked through and you could see, somebody carved out our Blessed Mother and then they kind of like a snowman, but of Mary, and a snowman of baby Jesus. So it's all snow people, right? But they're all individually carved out and then put in. But the problem Michelangelo had was before he started, he had to think, how do I let this teenage girl emerge from this marble and at the same time drop into her lap the weight of a dead God? It's a seemingly impossible task when you think about it. Then put into the fact that he was just a 20-year-old. He'd never done it before. He wasn't a famous artist. He wasn't somebody who was good at necessarily known for this. So it was kind of like one of his first tasks that he had to try to do. And when you think about it, that's our task as we enter into this new year. We get this new year coming up, 365 days, and it's a block. And it's waiting for us to carve the image of our daily life, of our struggles, of things that we're doing, of the goals that we have, maybe some of our failures. We have to hold this year in our arms the way Mary did Jesus. And so what's so important to keep in mind as we enter into this new year is what Michelangelo had to keep in mind. What is the goal of this image? What is the purpose for what I'm doing this? Because everything has to be put into that context. If not, this huge marble piece, if he was thinking of something else, gets distracted, starts thinking of like his hometown or like how much he loves wine. All of a sudden there's a bottle of wine that shows up in the marble. That wouldn't really make much sense. But what he started with was this idea of he wanted a mother beholding her child. And somehow to get a body that looks lifeless being held by Mary, but all in one piece. And the key to it all was that he wanted this whole entire statue to be put above an altar so that when people would look at it, it would be especially in the moment that the priest would be holding up the Eucharist and the priest will have just said the words of consecration, so that as they're looking at the Eucharist, they'd actually, especially from the priest's perspective, they would see just the Eucharist and they would see Mary like this. And then when the Eucharist comes down, you see the actual body of Jesus. To me, this new year We have a chance to etch this new year with Christ in the center. Every action we do, we can pull Christ right up and say, everything I do, I want to do centered on Christ. And know that if we do that, the help of Mary, the Blessed Mother, is right next to us. And one of the great things that Mary does in this statue is she holds Jesus' head here, and his head is seemingly lifeless. And her fingers come around, and you can see them on the very side of Jesus. And you can see how lifeless he just falls into the arms of Mary. And so you can see how much God trusted Mary with the most precious and the most treasured gift that the whole world has ever received, which is Jesus Christ. Why can't we also entrust our most precious gifts? I was talking to the boys behind me. They got a lot of good gifts for Christmas. And the one said for New Year's, he's going to stay awake. The other goes, I'm going to probably fall asleep. But we have these expectations of gifts and New Year's and all the excitement. And boy, if we could keep in mind what Michelangelo did, which was to place Jesus in the center so that all of our actions, no matter where we go, Christ is in the middle, and we entrust those actions to Christ through the help of our Blessed Mother Mary. The other arm of Mary is kind of interesting. It's my favorite part of the whole entire statue. It's this left arm that's seemingly like extending like this. It's moving out to the left. And it's as if on one hand she's looking at the sorrow, because this is actually called Our Lady of Sorrow. On one hand, she's looking at the disappointment and the disgust and the disgrace and the difficulty and the dastardly task of a mother. How do you move on from this? And all of a sudden, this left hand raises up like this. It's that hand of hope. And what I get from this, especially as we start into this year, is that we're going to have moments that are going to pull us down. But we're also going to have moments that are going to lead us up in hope. And so whatever happens to us this year, entrusting our cares and our worries to our Blessed Mother, on one hand, she helps us hold those things that are hard to hold on to. On the other, she asks us to reach up, dream, think big, to not hold back the hope that Jesus Christ has for each one of us. And so, it wasn't at all what I wrote in my homily here. I got distracted. Sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, Mary, our mother, 2018, maybe today's a good day for us to just think about our own favorite reflection on our Blessed Mother, our own special image, centered on Christ, knowing that she's there with her arms to catch us. You know, as I got sick these past few weeks, one of the things that I noticed, I texted my mom and I said, Mom, I'm feeling like I got pneumonia. And her only question back is, how long will it take you to come over? It wasn't like, you know, I got all these Christmas gifts to get going. I got parties and I got plans. And, oh, yeah, I'm hosting this, that, and another. It was, when are you coming over so I can get you healthy? It's like, in Mom's heart, there's always room for one more. And I learned that especially from my grandma, who has only 13 kids, 84 grandchildren, and now over 113 great-grandchildren, of which I'm the favorite.